Good morning, students. So, as this is your first lecture, we'll start with an introduction. That myself, Prajakta Tanode, I'll be teaching you operating system for this semester 1. And operating system is a subject of a 75-25 pattern, that is 75 marks theory paper and 25 marks internal, as well as 50 marks practical you will have as a separate component. So these are three different components: 75, 25 and 50 marks different practical. So operating system here has 5 units and each unit has 2 chapters into it. So we'll be starting with unit 1, chapter 1. From each chapter I will be providing you the topics of the chapter which are covered and which are there in the syllabus. You can compare these topics with the syllabus as well. Any of the topic if I have not covered, you can specify it in the group so that we can again go through that topic, or we can repeat that topic if you have a doubt. After you have uploaded the video or you have downloaded the video, you have seen the video, you have to compulsorily fill the attendance, as well as you have to give a notification in the group that yes, we have filled the attendance, or yes, we have received the video and we have seen the video. Now starting with chapter the chapter has topics. That is, the chapter name is introduction. This chapter has what is an operating system, history of operating system, computer hardware, different operating systems, operating system concepts, system calls, operating system structure. So these are the 7 topics which are being covered in this chapter. We will not be going through all the topics today itself. We'll be just going with what is an operating system, history of operating system and different operating systems, but that also will be going with 2 or 3 operating systems today, and then we'll be continuing it in the next lecture. Just an overview of whole chapter is just to introduce what is operating system, what is the history behind operating system, as well as what are the computer hardware which are compatible with your operating system, what are the 32-bit systems, what are 64-bit systems. All those descriptions are being given in this whole subject, that is operating systems. Now moving on, what is an operating system? So now an operating system is a software which acts as an interface between the end user and the computer hardware. So we'll take an example of what can be an operating system. Now I'm using a computer. When I'm using that computer, I have an interface which is called as computer, and my hardware is also my computer. But to interact with my hardware, that is to interact or to work, what do I require? An operating system to start first, so that I can use different applications. So you will not understand it in the first sentence itself. We'll go on further. Every computer must have at least one OS to run other programs. So you require one single operating system at least to run your programs into your computer. An application like Chrome, Microsoft Word, games, etc. needs some environment in which it will run and perform its task. To perform those tasks, what we require is we require some applications, and to run that applications we require an operating system. The OS helps you to communicate with the computer without knowing how to speak the computer's language. It is not possible for the user to use any computer or mobile device without having an operating system. Now, what does the OS help you to? OS help you to communicate with my computer's language. It helps to communicate with my computer's language with the help of your operating system, and there is no such function by which we can run the operating system, we can run the computer or mobile without an operating system is not possible. In certain computer operating system, a job is a unit of work that a computer operator gives to the operating system. Now you will further also learn this particular topic, that is job. It will come into statements. So better specifying now only, that is job is a unit of work that is given to a computer operator. Now it gives operating system a task that yes, this is your job and you have to complete this particular job at particular time. A job could be the running of an application program such as a weekly payroll program. I'm giving a duration and in that duration it should get completed, can be termed as a job. Now this is a scenario what works, that hardware can be CPU, memory, hard drive, keyboard, mouse, screen, printer, scanner, any hardware can be there in which you have an operating system. There can be different operating systems: Windows, Apple OS X, Linux, n number of Windows 7, Windows XP. Windows XP is not in use nowadays, but Windows 10, Windows you can say 2010, then there is an extended version of Windows. All those things can be covered in the operating system. And then you have a end user. So when we go from down to upward direction, you have one end user, you have an operating system, and through that operating system you can access your hardware, that is CPU, memory or hard drive. Now moving on to next topic, that is history of operating system. Operating systems were first developed in late 1950s to manage tape storage. So there were many long bunch of tapes, like actual hard tapes, which were used to print the data onto it and keep those data documented as an operating system storage. In the late 1950s, in the year 1950s, the General Motors Research Lab implemented the first OS in the early 1950s for their IBM 701. This is the first model which was being developed by General Motors Research Lab, implemented first OS in 1950s, and which was named as IBM, which had a name called as IBM 701. In the mid 1960s, operating system started to use disk. Now tape were replaced with disk in 1960s. In the late 1960s, this was in the mid of 1960s, in the late 1960s, the first version of Unix OS, the first OS to get developed was Unix OS. Then the first OS built by Microsoft was DOS, disk operating system. It was built in 1981 by purchasing the 86-bit DOS software from Cetel company. So in 1981, OS was built first by Microsoft also, and it was named as DOS, that is disk operating system. The present day popular OS Windows first came to existence in 1985 when a GUI was created and paired with MS-DOS, that is Microsoft DOS. It was priorly only DOS. When they had a colorful proper GUI which was connected with DOS, that time it gave it a name as MS-DOS. Now, what are the features of operating system? When I say that I use operating system, what are the special characteristics what my operating system gives me is protected and supervisor mode. Protected means once I am working on my operating system, none other person can use that same thing at a time. I can use in one system one at a time. If you are using it in a network, yes, another person can use it, but with a proper networking source as well as a pass authentication, that is password authentication mode. Second one is allow disk access and file system device drivers, networking security. With the help of networking security, that is LAN network, anybody can use disk access and as well as files into that disk. Disk access is you have D drive, E drive, F drive in your systems, that is computers, that can be accessed. You can save some files into that drives, as well as when you are using that system into networking, you can use that with the help of networking securities as well. Third one is program execution. Now program execution here means certain tasks are being given to the system and that execution is being done by the operating system. Memory management, virtual memory. Memory management means my disk is of certain kbps, or what you can say certain mb or certain tb. So this is my memory management location through which I cannot exceed my particular disk storage, but I can go with a convenient flow of my disk, and I can use virtual memory as well. Virtual means not real, but actually we are using that memory. We are sharing other systems memory for our convenience of use. It can be called as multitasking as well. Multitasking means at a time you are performing two or more than two tasks. Handling IO operations. Handling IO operations is input output operations. That is, what does operating system do? I am typing something on the keyboard. It is being printed on my screen. How is it possible? I am conveying it with the help of interface, that is keyboard. Keyboard is interpreting my operating system that yes, I need an hardware to work with so that I can complete the task of typing. So handling IO operations is also done by operating system. Manipulation of file, moving, copying, deleting, all these things of files can be done through operating system. Error detection and handling, antivirus, all such error detection applications also can be run with the help of operating system. Resource allocation. Resource allocation means providing certain functions, that is personalization, making a user, then admin, all those security factors of admin, giving access control or not, all these things are there in the resource allocation. Information and resource protection. When I am giving a password to my system, until and unless I do not put that password, I will not be able to allow access that file. That is called as resource protection and information protection. The next is, this is what is the scenario of your operating system. When I say my operating system is an intermediary of my particular system, how is it an intermediary? I am a user. When I am user, I am using an application. How I am using an application? With the help of operating system, which is talking to my hardware. So operating system is a middle layer between my application and my hardware. So it is an intermediary. Intermediary means middle person who is making the communication possible between my application and my hardware. So what are different operating systems? First one is simple batch system. Second one is multi-programming batch system. Third one is multiprocessor system. Fourth one is desktop systems. Fifth one is distributed operating system. Sixth one is clustered system. Seventh one is real-time systems, operating system. And the last one is handheld system. So these are the systems, operating systems, which we'll be learning in this chapter. So the first one is simple batch system. So in this type of system, there is no direct interaction between the user and the computer. So there is no direct interaction between my user and my computer. The user has to submit a job. Yes, the user has to just submit a job written on cards or tapes. Now this is the very oldest one which we are talking, which was in the 1950s, that there is no communication between my user and my computer. To make that communication, the user has to submit a task that yes, I need to convey this tape or a card so that I can do my processing input. Then the computer operator places a batch, that is a task, of several jobs on an input device. So it will give you certain jobs that yes, take this 5 jobs or 5 tasks to complete this one whole batch of completion, that is task completion. Jobs are batched together by type of languages and requirement. Then whatever the user requirements are, on that basis the jobs will be tied together. Then a special program, the monitor manages the execution of each program in the batch. Now if there are 10 jobs in one batch, the monitor will manage the execution of each job in that particular batch. The monitor is always in the main memory and available for execution. In simple batch system, the monitor will be in the main memory, not in the operating system. Advantages of simple batch system, as it's now the older one, no interaction between user and computer will make the things separated. It will not merge up everything. No mechanism to priorities the processes. You do not have to divide the processes. Once the jobs are being put into one batch, it will give you one task and you have to complete that task with the help of the mechanisms required. So this becomes more easy, less time driven, as well as you do not have to hesitate for separate task completion or different processes. So the diagram of simple batch system looks like this, that is operating system and a user program area, where you do not have a main memory different separation, then cache memory, all those things are not there. Now next is multi-programming batch systems. In this, operating system picks up and begins to execute one of the jobs from the memory. As the name suggests, students, multi-programming batch system. Here you will have multi-programs in one batch. So what the memory will do, it will start to begin to execute. How? It will take one job from the memory and start completing its task. Once this job needs an IO operation, operating system switch to another job. CPU and OS always busy. In this task, CPU and OS will be always busy. Jobs in the memory are always less than the number of jobs on the disk. So jobs are always processing. Job pool means every time one and every job will be replaced once the jobs are completed. If several jobs are ready to run at the same time, then the system chooses which one to run through the process of CPU scheduling. CPU scheduling here means giving them a certain time duration to complete their task. So what this multi-programming batch system will do, if n number of jobs are running at the same time, it will job pool. Job pool here means it will set you a number of tasks depending on what time they have entered the CPU scheduler. If in non-multi-program system, there are moments when CPU sits idle and does not do any work. As this is multi-programming, if it is non-multi-programming, that time CPU will not do anything. CPU will be idle, not doing any work. In multi-programming system, CPU will never be idle. In multi-programming, this is a very important statement. CPU will never be idle, that is CPU will keep on processing as it is said. And OS also will be busy. Time sharing systems are very similar to multi-programming system, as time sharing systems also are on the basis of time sharing only. We are providing a time limit. Likewise, multi-programming systems are also the same like it. In fact, time sharing systems are an extension of multi-programming system. An upgraded version of multi-programming systems can also be called as time sharing system. In time sharing systems, the prime focus is on minimizing the response time. That is, how easily and fast my system can reply to the user input. While in multi-programming, the prime focus is to maximize CPU usage. How easily we can use the CPU storage is being done, or CPU usage can be done in multi-programming batch system. So the diagram for multi-programming looks like this. That is, I have an operating system which will take job 1, job 2, job 3, any of the job from it, complete the task, replace one job with another. So there can be n number of jobs into one particular CPU disk. That is, CPU scheduler will allocate this particular jobs to the operating system. The next one is multiprocessor systems. A multiprocessor system consists of several processors that share a common physical memory. Several processors here means several CPUs are being connected to one single memory, and multiprocessor systems provide higher computing power and speed. Higher computing power in the terms of input as well as output, and speed as well to get an rectified output in the considered time duration. In multiprocessor system, all processors operate under single operating system. So all the processors which are working, that all the CPU processing units will be working on single operating system. Multiplicity of the processors and how they do act together are transparent to others. So it is not compulsory all the processors which are connected to one CPU operating system will have something hidden. They are very transparent to each other depending on the memory allocation given to it. Now what are the advantages of multiprocessor system? Enhanced performance. It becomes easy when we are using a network, and time sharing gives you a output very easily. Execution of several tasks by different processors concurrently increases system throughput without speeding up the execution of the single task. Every time one single task is taken into consideration, rather than that, what we can do is we can increase the system throughput. Throughput here means whatever expected output we are getting, we have expected it in time duration suppose 5 minutes, but it is giving me an output within 3 minutes, which is increasing my throughput level, that is output level, so that I can complete more and more tasks in less time duration. If possible, system divides tasks into many subtasks, and then these subtasks can be executed in parallel in different processors. N number of CPUs when they are working, we can divide the task into subtasks and again divide it into parallel, means parallelly n number of tasks are being performed at that particular time, thereby speeding up the execution of single task. That is, as I said, when I want to complete a task in 5 minutes, if the system is giving me it in 3 minutes, I am speeding up the factor of output level, that is execution of the single task. So we'll stop here for this particular lecture. We'll be continuing in the next lecture. If you have any doubts regarding these particular topics what are explained, you can ask it on the group, and you have to fill the attendance as well for this particular lecture, which I'll be posting within half an hour. Thank you.